everybody, happy Thursday and welcome back to the live. As always, we have a good one for you today. Today we are talking about, get out the way, post frame versus red iron. What's the real difference? We're gonna break down the facts, the cost, strength, versatility, and performance, and more. So we've had a lot of questions about this topic on the difference in red iron and post frame. There's a lot of assumptions about each, so we're going to try and do our best to clarify that. But as always, if you have any questions, concerns, or want just a topic that you want talked about, please let us know in our messages or on the comments of the live. Again, this is a topic we've had a lot of questions about, so we want to make sure everyone is informed and up to date. But as always, let's hop into it. So we're going to have $500 off your Mallett building if you are a healthcare worker, first responder, military personnel, or a teacher and or educator. We appreciate what you do. You serve the community. We want to do our best to serve you. $500 off when you look for a Mallett building if you fall into one of these categories. As always, thank you for what you do. Moving right along, we have a cool new picture for Tiger Cash. Let me stand by the cool tiger right here. Get $1,000 off your elite or signature building when you comment cash under any live video like this. Disclaimer, this Tiger Cash does not apply to specials or promotional prices, only our original prices, because when the specials are happening, you're getting a great deal as it is, let's be honest. But if you are one of these categories using the $500 off, you can also comment cash and get an additional $1,000 off, bringing your total to $1,500. That's a pretty cool addition, a little pocket cash right there, and it's a really cool celebration at the end of this, honestly. Moving right along, where's Mallett? We have 94 jobs going on this week. Give or take a few, probably there's some extra added. I know there's been some new contracts signed, some new projects in the works, things like that. But around 94 jobs between Texas and Louisiana this week. So everywhere from Franklinton to Elizabeth and Doosan, Schriever, Houma, all these are in construction right here that we have on the ground. That means the materials have been delivered and we are preparing to begin the building process. We have inspections, we have gutters, forms, plumbing, finishers, control joints, concrete. All different phases of a Mallett building are going on this week in Louisiana. And look at this cool little map. We've updated these so it's a lot more precision accurate now. Check out all these. We are literally all over Louisiana. Moving along to Texas, on the east coast of Texas, coast side, whatever you want to call it, on the bordering side of Texas, we are all over there as well. Again, in construction on the ground, forms, gutters, finishers, and concrete all going on in Texas, totaling 94 jobs. That's a lot of work. That's a big crew. Update your slogan. Time tested, storm proven, built strong, built. Mr. Tim, I'm just going to invite you to come join the marketing team here soon because you keep hitting us with these cool little slogans and you have all the information. So I'm going to get you a seat next to me and we can kiki all day and we can make some cool marketing material. How about that? November specials and promotions. Mallett Classics. So we're focusing on the classic buildings this month because they're still great buildings. They're better than our competitors' best buildings. So that's a cool way to start. But with each of these classic promotions, you're going to get 26 gauge metal because here at Mallett that is standard. You're going to get a 5-on-12 roof pitch, 2x12 headers, 2x8 scissor trusses, which are rated for 170 miles an hour. You heard Mr. Darrell confirm that the other day. And speaking of the trusses, all of them were third-party inspected. We actually met with the inspector earlier this week, and pretty soon you're going to have some cool information from him as well as a quick interview we did, and he's going to talk to you about the importance of inspecting the trusses and what that means for you, the customer. But that's more to come, so stay tuned. We have the Mallett cable lock system. As we explained and Mr. Lee showed yesterday, we actually have East Texas. I know technically, but you know. Mallett cable lock system. That's going to be the aircraft cable that goes from post to post. It's going to go crossways across the underside of the building, and it's going to go horizontally, diagonally, all connecting all the posts together with these massive eye bolts that go to the bottom of the posts. And on top of that, you're going to have the concrete slab pour. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But that's going to help with uplift control. So if there ever happens to be a malfunction in the building, the wind acts like a parachute, as we've mentioned before, and wants to lift that building up. That's why you see so many of these buildings, not Mallett buildings, but other buildings, lifting up, blowing away. I know personally, we had a shop that during Laura, we came back home, we didn't know where the shop was. We had a slab where it was because a lot of builders will place it just on top and bolt it down and hope for the best. Mallett prevents that with our cable lock system, and looking back, wish we would have had a Mallett building. But concrete is also under every post to ensure a solid foundation, no sinking, and more protection there. The Classic's going to come with 4-inch, 4,000 PSI concrete. Most people are using 3,000 PSI concrete. This is 33% stronger. We're going to use skirt board guards for the ground protection, a 4-year workmanship warranty, #1 MCA ground treated kiln dried lumber. That's the best of the best. #1 for a reason, you guys. Why go with #2 when you can go with #1, right? In-house engineer and design, which means designs and trusses are verified internally as well as third party. So multiple inspections, that peace of mind, yes it does. And then price match with an apples to apples quote. If you feel like someone's offering you a Mallett building, bring it to us, and if it really is, then we will beat their price by $1,000. So again, if you feel like they're offering the same quality as Mallett, bring that to us, let us look at it, and we will make sure, if that's the case, we beat their price by $1,000. How's that sound? But this right here is going to be a 30 by 30 by 12 building with a 30 by 20 gable extension. So plenty of room for outdoor activities and hanging out. And a little bit bigger here is a 30 by 50 by 12 with a 30 by 24 gable foot extension. So parking vehicles, again, hanging out, having those good crawfish boils, things like that. Same specs, same great quality that comes with every Mallett building, just a little bit bigger. And we have a third special this month as well for $69,999. I call this the Mac Daddy of the specials. It's going to be a 40 by 60 by 12 with a 40 by 30 gable extension. So these are some generated images we have from our 3D builder. We spruced them up a little bit for y'all, but this is pretty much what the building is going to look like. And that's a large gable extension. You could have all the crawfish boils, football parties, everything is just a possibility here. Anything you want, honestly. It's a screaming deal, as Mr. Tim is saying. And for $70,000, 40 by 60, you guys, that's an incredible price for an incredible building with all of this that most people can't even offer you. And if they can, they won't, and that should say something. So Mallett Ambassador Club, we are in the process of reworking this and making this brand new to better serve you, our ambassadors, who are ultimately our customers, which in the long run, that is the reason we've been here for 26 plus years. So we want to thank you to everyone who's purchased a Mallett building or referred someone to purchase a Mallett building. We want to take care of you guys. The Ambassador Club is amazing and it's going on, but we are reworking it. So hopefully soon we'll have some new information on that. If you are interested, reach out to us. We'll put your name and email down and send you all that information when that is up to date and refreshed. But trust me, we were looking over it earlier. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be worth being involved in, I promise. So the 5 red flags, we talk about these every day, not because we want to brag or talk down about people, but we want to be informative and make sure you understand before you purchase a building or get into the process of doing so, that you know what to look for and how to spot shady contractors. We've heard too many stories about people losing money and not getting a building, or getting a crappy building, or a leaky building, or a building that a year later they still haven't come back and fixed the issues on it, or X, Y, and Z, insert horror story here. We actually have some cool content coming about that here in the near future. But red flags to look for: years in business. You can check that at the Secretary of State. You want to make sure the company you're working with has been around long enough to A, make mistakes and learn from them, to learn what works and what doesn't, to have the experience to give you a phenomenal building. And here at Mallett, they've been around about as long as I have. So I think that's pretty amazing as a business to be here 26 plus years. That's a phenomenal feat in itself, but to be doing what we've been doing for that long and improving every day means we've learned a thing or two. Licensure and contractor violations can both be checked on the LSLBC, and these are important because, first of all, you want to make sure who's doing work on your property has a license to do work on your property. You don't want some fly-by-night company coming and not doing what they say they're going to do, because if they're not licensed, who are they going to listen to? And if they're working without a license, there's a good chance they have some contractor violations, including fraud and other things that you don't want to be involved in. So make sure you check for these things as well. Here at Mallett, we're glad to say that we are 0 violations in those 26 plus years. So we want to keep that record going, of course. Reviews on the BBB and Google. Guys, this stuff, 1 through 3, is all amazing, but number 4 is really what shines. Number 4 is what tests stands the test of time, because that's what really matters, is the people who you've worked with and their opinions and their stories and what they have to say. You're going to get some good, you're going to get some bad, but here at Mallett we have over 600 reviews between the BBB and Google, and the majority of them are happy customers. So we're very proud of this. We're very happy to say that in our years of business we've gathered over 600 reviews. We implore you to go check those out from not only us but anyone else you may be shopping with, because reviews can tell you a lot. And number 5, visit the contractor's facility. We have a phenomenal facility here. If you've never been, I really recommend you come by. It's right off the I-10 interstate. Chances are you've seen it. Chances are you've passed the big green building. And by the way, the building we're standing in right now has made it through 16 hurricanes. That's impressive in Louisiana, because I remember growing up, I used to always hear, if you make it through one, you won't make it through a second. And that's just kind of the saying we had where I grew up. So to know this has been through 16 buildings is saying, 16 hurricanes is saying something. But the facility itself, it's large. We have the huge truss plant. We're currently working on the roll form plant. Again, if you've passed this on the interstate, you've seen this. And on top of all that, we have plenty of areas for all the materials we buy. We buy so many materials, so much wood is purchased and held here to help create these trusses in-house. You probably hear some of the work going on outside currently right now. Here and there, you'll probably hear some of that, but that's just because we're working hard to serve the customers. But come check out the facility. Shake hands. Mr. Lee is more than happy to talk to anyone who comes in if he's here. Busy guy, but he's usually available whenever he knows someone's stopping by. So let us know, come check it out, and we'll be happy to give you a nice tour and give you some popcorn. That's very impressive, Mr. Tim, for only a 1/8 inch variance on between a 6x6 post. Good quality craftsmanship. That's what we want to keep maintaining. That's where these reviews come in. We want to earn those good reviews. So why Mallett? We've pretty much talked about the majority of this, you guys. But if you're unfamiliar, let me quickly go over some of my favorite features. Most people are going to be using 29 gauge metal. We use 26 gauge metal standard. They're going to be using 2x8 headers. We use 2x12 headers. Talked about the concrete, the ground protection. Most people have a 1 to 2 year warranty if they have a warranty. A lot of them haven't been in business long enough to justify this warranty, because their warranty's been around, or is for longer than they've been around. How does that make sense? We start with a 4-year craftsmanship warranty up to a 10-year craftsmanship warranty, which from what I've looked at is one of, if not the longest in the business. They're going to use common flat trusses, so you're going to lose a lot of headroom there. We're going to use our engineered scissor trusses, as we said. They don't have uplift control. We have the Mallett cable lock system. Just like them, they use number 2 generic lumber. You know, you don't want to go with a generic builder using generic lumber. We use number 1 kiln dried MCA ground treated lumber here at Mallett, because if we want to be number 1, which we are, may as well use number 1 materials, right? 130 mile an hour rating as their best rating. The Classic has that, and the Elite's 145, and all of our roofs are 170. If the roof goes, everything underneath it is gone as well. Mr. Daryl Monday showed you guys what happens when the roof is not a sturdy roof, and that goes, that you lose everything underneath it. Chances of 170 mile an hour roof going, not impossible, but it's very slim. We've got 0 complaints of lost Mallett buildings through hurricanes. But these are some of my favorite things we have. Of course, engineer on staff, that is Mr. Daryl. You met him Monday. And we actually have one of our designers who should be coming and give you guys some good information here soon as well. Lots of cool stuff happening at Mallett. I'm really excited about it. But that's us versus everyone else and just where they stack up. And this isn't a comparison. This isn't a bashing thing. This is just taking common facts of what people have provided. So us against them, and why Mallett, why it matters. So on to the topic for today, post frame buildings versus red iron buildings. What's the real difference and why that matters? So 2 different building systems, obviously. So the Mallett post frame building is going to be, of course, again, number 1 kiln dried MCA ground treated lumber. Our posts are going to be embedded 3 foot into the ground, with concrete pads underneath each of those posts. We're going to have engineered scissor trusses built in-house. Again, they're third-party inspected and verified and stamped, and then they're going to be internally inspected as well. This ensures quality and consistency. We're going to have framing anywhere from 8 to 10 foot centers depending on the building and the area and what you, the customer, would like. We're going to have 26 gauge metal siding standard. Red iron, it's going to have all steel beam columns and rafters. They're going to be bolted to a full slab of concrete, and they're going to have secondary members every 4 to 5 feet. Some have 26, some have 29 gauge panels. It just depends. But this is kind of a typical overlay of what those systems are. The foundation and installation, there's a lot of differences here. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Again, our posts are embedded in the ground, no slab required before framing. So what we do at Mallett, we build the building, we build the structure, and then afterwards we come down and put the foundation down. We get it ready, get all the stuff. We have the fill sand brought in if needed, and then we're gonna get it framed out, and then we're going to pour the concrete, the 4,000 PSI concrete we talked about. That's gonna go over the cable lock system. It's also gonna be microfiber reinforced. Just a little extra tidbit there. But frame first, pour slab later for accuracy. Doing this allows us to work on uneven terrain. That fill sand we talked about, Mr. Trench talked about it before in the past, that fill sand is gonna allow us to have additional, or to build on uneven terrain, because if the terrain's like this, we can add that fill sand to bring it up level. That doesn't mean you can have an uneven and crazy foundation. We're gonna get it as level as possible, bring it to grade, but bringing it to grade allows us to build on those terrains like that. And of course, smaller crews and lighter equipment because we're using lighter materials, but lighter doesn't always mean less strength. We'll talk about that soon. Red iron requires a specifically engineered slab with anchor bolts before the framing begins. It's going to take heavier equipment because, like cranes and lifts, and that's going to lead to slower build time and more site prep. So already have slower build time, more site prep, more things involved here, but moving right along. So the upfront costs and value, this is what a lot of people want to look at. This is where a lot of people have issues, is those upfront costs. A post-frame building from Mallett typically is about 20 to 40% lower cost than red iron for the same footprint. We've seen incredibly higher percentages depending on the building, so that is obviously a range and average of what we found. We have faster installation because less labor, because there's less large equipment, less things going on. The materials are easier to move, transport, and build. Less concrete required, which of course keeps your costs down. Less labor, less concrete, and lower cost means your upfront cost is lower, bringing your value higher for the same footprint. Red iron is going to have higher costs due to steel's weight and slab requirements, and it's often necessary for very large industrial buildings. So very large buildings. So these are some upfront things to look at. And moving right along, strength, wind load, and longevity. Mallett buildings, trusses are engineered up to 170 mph wind rating, as we said earlier. We have, again, the kiln-dried MCA ground-treated lumber. This is going to resist rot and termites. Here in the South, termites are our thing. If you have any wood in your home, you know it is super important to have that treated lumber. White wood, as most people use, are not going to be necessarily termite resistant, especially if it's not treated like ours is. So we're going to have that kiln-dried, heat-treated, ground-treated lumber, and that's going to prevent the termites. They'll just crawl right past that. And then it's going to distribute the load directly into the ground, and then we also have the Mallett cable lock system for the uplift control. So red iron is going to be good for extremely large spans and super heavy roof loads. A lot of times you'll see those crane equipments and the hoists up top. Depending on the size, you're going to need red iron, maybe something to look into for that. A red iron slab costs 3 to 4 times more than a slab in the post frame due to the need for substantial. That's great information, Mr. Tim. He said a red iron slab costs 3 to 4 times more for the slab than post frame due to the need for substantial chain wall footers. It's great information. So red iron is going to come in around a wind rating of 170 mph as well, but that's going to depend on your design. So right there, it depends on the design, so that could be a range here as well. All steel frame won't rot, but it can corrode if it's not maintained properly. So you definitely won't rot because it's not wood, but wood's also not going to rot if it's treated properly, like ours is. But for most building sizes under 100 foot wide, Mallett's Elite system meets or exceeds standard strength requirements, and we make sure to do that on purpose. As Mr. Darrell talks about often, we're engineered with precision and thought in mind, so we're going to far exceed the recommendations of most engineering areas, so we're going to make sure to over-engineer our buildings. A lot of people will tell you, well, you don't need that. You don't need the 2x12 headers. You don't need 2x8 trusses. You don't need all this stuff. Well, of course you don't need it, but wouldn't you want the better building? Wouldn't you want something with the peace of mind? Especially if, think of it like this, you're building a barn-dominium. Why go for anything less than the best? This is where you're going to lay your head at night. This is where your family or your friends are going to stay. You want something safe. You want something that's not just good enough. I know personally I'm going to want something that makes me feel comfortable, safe, and like I've done the best for my money, and so far Mallett's doing that. Red iron, again, won't rot but can corrode if not maintained properly. Moving along to thermal performance and comfort. Post frame. Wood provides natural thermal break. Wood is a good form of a thermal break here. It's going to be a good separator from the heat. Easy to insulate with fiberglass or spray foam. Better efficiency for conditioned spaces. As we said, like barn-dominiums, offices, shops, man cave, she shed, etc. Red iron, steel conducts heat and cold. It is what's called thermal bridging. That's going to allow the heat and cold to transfer more easily, meaning insulation is definitely a much more needed thing there because it's going to hold that heat and cold a lot more than wood does. And that means it requires heavy amounts of spray foam insulation to offset that thermal bridging. I'm sure Mr. Tim would have some amazing information on thermal bridging. I would assume so. But wood is already on the better side of things for thermal performance. I know, again, here in Louisiana, some days it's 30 in the morning, 97,000 degrees in the afternoon. I want something that's well insulated because I don't like being uncomfortable. I'm a little spoiled, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Moving right along, customization and aesthetics. Post frame easily adds porches, lean-tos, covered patios, wraparounds, and more. We talked about the gables and the wings yesterday. This falls into that category. Let's see. Wow, so on Mr. Tim's 50 by 10 building, 50 by 110 building, the total post frame building cost for everything, that's the slab included, was $149,000. The slab alone for the red iron building was going to be around $60,000. So about half the cost just up front was for the slab for that same 50 by 110 blueprint. That's what we were talking about earlier. Those upfront costs are up here for the red iron. So post frames can be finished like a home or office inside. You can do whatever you want on the inside of a post frame. That's the beauty of it. And they're perfect for barn-dominiums, shops, garages, or ag use. Of course, red iron is going to be primarily industrial space. It's very difficult to modify after completion because the steel framing, you have to plan ahead of time for that. But that's going to make it decent for warehouses, factories, and massive hangars. The fun part about this is we also build warehouses, we also build factory buildings, and we also build hangars. Keeping in mind all the things we talked about before, keeping the lower costs and the higher stability, the higher sturdiness, and customization. So just because red iron is ideal for it, doesn't mean Mallett can't be a great option as well because we have the customization, the aesthetics, and you can really go a long way with the extra money you do. You could even get a bigger building. So, maintenance and warranty coverages. As I mentioned before, Mallett has a 10-year workmanship warranty, which is an industry-leading warranty. We have a 40-year panel finish warranty against against rust, all the things that happen to the metal, the glazing on it, all those things. We have a 40-year warranty against that. And minimal maintenance is required. Pretty much done. Once it's done, you're good to go. Red iron is standard, a 1-year workmanship warranty. Across the board, it also requires corrosion inspection and bolt tightening over time. The issue with things having to be bolted to concrete, things get loose. I was talking with one of the other people in our marketing department earlier, and they reminded me of the wind shear that happens on these steel buildings. They are so tightly bolted, so rigid that they don't have any flexibility. Steel doesn't necessarily move. So over time, as the wind hits it and it pushes, those bolts are going to come loose. Those beams are going to start to move Wood is very flexible. Though it is incredibly strong, it has a little give to it. So in that wind, you have a lot more opportunity for the building to be in better condition. Steel doesn't have those benefits. Moving right along. When a Mallett Elite building makes sense? Always, but I'll give you some notes. Barndominium, shops, garages, commercial, agricultural uses. We also are good for when properties have uneven terrain because we can bring things up to grade. Projects needing an aesthetic customization or faster build times. And clients who value a 10-year workmanship warranty and lower lifetime cost. Sounds about like always to me. But we're going to be fair here. When is a red iron building, when does it make sense? If your project requires a non-combustible structure, red iron might make sense. If you're using heavy crane systems or mezzanines planned, red iron could make sense, but still talk to us about it. If you're in a project where steel construction is just mandated by the specs, of course, red iron might make sense. But of course, give us a chance. I guarantee we can beat that bid. So the real difference, strength, value, and service. Both systems are obviously strong. They have their perks. But Mallett's Elite Post Frame strikes the best balance for the most property owners. It's got engineered strength, we have faster build time, lower total cost, as well as a 10-year workmanship warranty. So if these things are important to you and you are in the business for a building, looking for a building, or just thinking of what could be, give us a call. We'd love to earn your business. We have plenty of opportunities to show you around, let you talk with our building specialists. They know more than enough to educate you in a well-mannered way. And we just look forward to helping you have the best building possible and the best building in the country. We believe that wholeheartedly. But that's going to be our show for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, concerns, or a topic that you want us to talk about, leave it in the comments and we will be sure to get to it as soon as possible. But as always, I'm looking into what could be. I sure hope so. But if you were interested in purchasing a building or looking into a post frame option, Mallett is obviously the way to go. Let us know. We'd love to help you and be part of your building journey. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for the Week in Review.